So much about the...
What would you say if I turned into all the things you love to hate? And on my way comes crashing through the rotten beams and window panes.
Hey everybody, we are back. It is episode 21. Aren't you excited? Maybe just a little bit. I'm excited. I got a beer here. I'm doing a little Hero IPA. You know, no big deal. Ah, man. It's been really nice lately. God, it's been super nice around here. We're actually, well, other than the fact that a tornado went tearing through just north of here, what was that, Sunday? Sunday night. It got nasty out here. Nothing too bad where I'm at, but just north of here, man, I think it was like 2 tornadoes went through. We didn't even get the sirens around here. But, man, I don't think anybody got killed, so that's good. You know, people lost some homes, but, you know, those can be replaced. People cannot be. So, you know, to all of the people that, you know, maybe lost their homes, I am sorry, but I am glad that you guys are okay. All right, what's been going on? I got to tell you. Every now and again, I go down the rabbit hole with something on YouTube because, you know, you watch one video and then the YouTube algorithm takes over. And now every time you come on the YouTube, it's like, hey, you watch this video. Well, we got this video too. And so now I am on this UFO kick. And I do this every now and again. Like UFOs and tornadoes are like my thing. Like watching storm chasers go. And I kind of alternate between the two. But this is like by far the most I've ever gone on a UFO. Because there's like a show. I don't know if it was actually on TV or if it was just on YouTube. But it's you know, it's definitely professionally done. And, you know, there's some reenactments there. And most of them are only like 10 minutes long, 10-minute segments. But you start watching these things and it's just... You know, some of them you're like, yeah, that doesn't really sound like anything. And some of the other ones are like, you know, I don't know, maybe. You know, this sounds legit. But here's my problem with a lot of these things. And, you know, this is how dumb people are. You just watch the TV and you're like, don't do that. Okay? There are 2 things that you do not want to do when the UFOs show up. You know what I'm saying? The UFOs. Okay, first of all, you do not want to shine a flashlight at the damn thing. Because that's just signaling them to come and take you up into the ship and put things in your butt. Because that's what happens all the time. Nobody ever has a positive experience when they shine a flashlight at these things. But everybody does it. Me? I don't want them to know I'm there, brother. No way. That ain't happening. And the second thing is, you do not walk up to it and walk under it. What? I mean, you might as well just have t-shirts printed that says, take me now and probe me. I mean, for real. They're like, well, we didn't know what it was. Well, you know what it is. Everybody acts dumb, like, well, we weren't really sure what it is. It could have been something from the military. Bitch, you know this ain't from the military. It took you 2 seconds to know it wasn't from the military and know that this thing is no bueno. So for the love of God, if you ever see anything in the sky that is a UFO, do not shine your damn flashlight at it and don't walk underneath this thing. Here's what you do. You get in your car and you drive as fast as you can in the opposite direction, okay? Save your butthole. Don't flash it with a flashlight and don't walk underneath it. You can thank me later, okay? I do this for the love of you guys. I want you guys to keep your bee-holes pristine and untouched by aliens. You're welcome. All right. Now that we got that out of the way, what's been going on that we can talk about? Well, something happened called E3. And, my first reaction every year is like, they still have this thing? Wasn't this supposed to stop like 4 years ago because of the internet and everybody just drops this shit anyway on YouTube? But I guess, we're still doing this thing. And so, everybody gets up there and drops their own thing. And for my end of things, I'm pretty much just going to cover some of the stuff that Nintendo did because I like I said, as far as modern gaming, that's all I'm into right now is the Switch. I don't have any of the other systems, even from the last generation. I think the Sony PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 are the most up to date I am on with those companies. So we're also going to talk about the Intellivision Amico. Had a video that was casted or whatever that you call it, I guess, streamed. Look, when I talk about the Amico in this, I'm not even going to really be talking about the system itself, but I do want to talk about what this little thing going on between Tommy Tallarico and the CU podcast guys, Ian and Pat, because it's just like, this thing just keeps rolling, and I don't have skin in the game either which way, but I'm going to talk about that because, it's just like, just when you think it was over, it just keeps going. Well, so I think it's funny. But actually, one of the first things I want to talk about is something that I didn't even see coming on my radar, is that there's going to be a new Aliens game from the Aliens franchise. Yay! And it's called Alien Fireteam. And it's a third-person shooter. And I had no idea this was a thing. And all of a sudden I started seeing trailers. I'm like, what is this? At first I thought, is this like a mobile game? But no, it's a legit game. Unfortunately, it's coming out for every system that I don't have. It is not coming out on the Switch, which, okay. That means I don't have to, look forward to this thing. Because, let's face it, a lot of the Alien games that I've looked forward to in the past end up being not that great. And namely, if you guys are Aliens fans and you're video game fans, you're going to know that, the Alien Colonial Marines? Now, I know that the original developer that was making the game, went tats up, and then somebody else took over and finished it, but I've never played the game, because by the time it did come out, I was already past it. And then from everything else I heard, it wasn't all that great. But I will say that one game that is really good. You know what, guys? Hold on here just a second. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. The kitties were down here wreaking havoc. I'm just watching them knock everything off a bookshelf as we're going along here. And I don't know if you guys all heard that, but then they just wanted to, play with everything and brush it all across the floor, including disc games that were just getting scratched on the floor. So I'm like, no. We had to take a little bit of a break there, a little bit of a timeout to, handle the situation. But I'm like, come on, guys, what are you doing? As soon as I get on here, it's every day, every time I do this, I come down here, and these guys just get that second wind, and they're running around here like a bunch of idiots. It's like, come on, guys. Anyway, so what were we talking about? Aliens. Now, I know that a lot of the games haven't been good, but the one that is really good was Alien Isolation. And if you haven't played that thing, I highly suggest you play it. Now, if you are not good with like being scared, oh my god, this game, like they took my nightmares and made it into a game. This thing, I've only made it like, I don't know, like a half hour into this damn thing. Because I just can't go back to it. I just can't go back to it because they did such a great job with it. I love the Alien franchise as far as like the first movie and the second one, and Alien Isolation really follows like the feel of the first one, where it's just kind of like a horror movie, you know, and not like the action movie that came second, which I loved too. But God, it scares the hell out of me. Even today, it scares the hell out of me. And this game is just like, it's not even a game. It's just like they took and made a disc-based, tension-filled experience here, because that's all it is. You are so tense the whole time and on the edge of like losing it. And it just gets worse the way it's probably one of the best Alien games ever made, as far as that Aliens franchise, like the Ridley Scott and the James Cameron movies. But so back to this Aliens Fireteam. So basically, you play in a 3-person team. You can't play solo. It's always going to be with 3 people. So if, you know, you're playing by yourself, then there'll be the other 2 people will be bots. But you know, they do suggest that you play it with 2 of your friends. You know, I mean, of course. And I guess the general gist of it is that a space station on the outer rim, much like the one that was in Alien Isolation, sent out a distress signal, and of course, you know, it's not like you don't know what it's going to be about. You know, the Marines answer the call, show up to see what's going on, and obviously the place is just crawling with aliens. So I'm hoping that it's going to be cool. It looks cool, you know. I just look at it every time. I'm like, oh, I'm like, they're doing an Aliens game, and I'm like, God, I'm like, I hope it's good, because it's just such a flip of the coin, you know, with those franchises. Sometimes they just hit the mark, and sometimes it's just, God, it just breaks your heart. But you know, I mean, I gotta think that making games isn't all that easy. So I hope it's good. And maybe by the time it comes out, it comes out this year. So maybe by the time it comes out, I'll have a system that actually plays it. So that'll be cool. So E3 happened, and Nintendo had they had their presentation along with everybody else, and you know, I watched it. It wasn't that long, I didn't think. And I had kind of been getting bits and pieces from other YouTubers, watching what they were thinking of stuff, and like their thing, and a lot of them were like, you know, it's just, after a couple minutes, I just lost interest, and I was like, okay. I'm like, well, I mean, let me check this out for myself. And man, they kind of weren't kidding, you know. I found myself skipping through it a lot, because this, I don't know, you know, there's a lot of stuff in there nowadays that I'm just not interested in, and maybe other people are, but I just wasn't. But I'm going to cover some of the stuff that I think is kind of cool, at least stuff that I'm interested in. One of the things that I'm not all that interested in, but I know a lot of people probably are, is there's a Super Smash Brothers Ultimate coming out, and they're adding one of the new characters is from Tekken. I have the name written down, and I've heard it said. I'm not even going to try and repeat it, because I'm just going to massacre it. which is cool. I love how they add all these different characters. Now, I am not necessarily a fan of Super Smash Bros. I have played it. I don't remember which one. I don't even have it myself. I played it against other people at a convention. But I guess it's cool. Fighting games just aren't really my thing. I wish they were. And I have the Street Fighter Anniversary collection for the Switch, and I just get my ass kicked every time I pull that in. And sometimes I will sit down and try to learn that stuff and learn the moves and try and get good, but I don't know, man. Hand-eye coordination ain't what it used to be, but after about an hour, I'm still getting it handed to me. So I just, I put it nicely on the shelf, and I'm like, well, I have that in my collection now. I will bring that out later on when I forget, like, how bad I was just now. So, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, it's going to be coming out, and they got, they got some guy from Tekken. So, enjoy for all of you that enjoy Super Smash Bros. The one thing that I am absolutely looking forward to, and I heard about this a while ago. Every once in a while you would hear about this maybe coming out, and then you wouldn't hear anything. It was just like rumor, but it's for real now. They're coming out with a Metroid Dread, and it's a 2D platformer game, and that's awesome, man. I cannot get enough 2D platformers. That is 100% my jam. I'm just too old school a lot of times for this new stuff. But you give me a 2D game, especially a new one, I'm in. I'm your Huckleberry big time. I love that. So this is, I guess, coming out this year. And, this is, of course, everyone's like, well, what about that other Metroid game or that they announced like 100 years ago that, I guess they supposedly scrapped and then restarted. And they did say, hey, we are working on that, and that will be coming out at some point. I don't know. I mean, whatever. It is what it is. So getting mad about it ain't going to make that stuff come out any faster. But yeah, Metroid Dread, I'm looking forward to that. And I guess the other kind of thing that kind of had my interest was their stuff with the Zelda stuff. As you may or may not know, it is the 35th anniversary of the original game, The Legend of Zelda. And I wasn't a big fan of it back in the day because I just didn't understand it, but I do enjoy it nowadays. Every once in a while, I'll pick it up and give it a run. I've never beaten it, but I do like practicing it every now and again. I always pick it up. I feel like I gotta reintroduce myself to it because it's just a classic. Didn't care for the second one, The Adventures of Link. Even back in the day, I was just like, nah, this, I don't know, man. And, a lot of people think it's a bad game, but now lately people are just like, no, it's not a bad game. It's okay. It's just misunderstood. I'm like, no, it's a bad game. It's a bad game. So, 35th anniversary, and really, I don't know. I mean, one of your big, next to probably Mario Brothers, one of your biggest properties from Nintendo is probably The Legend of Zelda. But, they're not really doing anything. Because what they are doing is a Legend of Zelda Game & Watch. Which is cool. It's cool. I mean, I don't know if I'm necessarily like the Gaming Watch guy. I am interested in buying this, but it's like it's the 35th anniversary. I mean, you just did that compilation of all the 3D games for Super Mario Brothers, but for their 35th this past year, but now you're not gonna do anything outside the Game & Watch. I don't know. It's just weird. So it's a Game & Watch, and you guys know what that is. And on this game, there's going to be 4 games. There's going to be The Legend of Zelda, the original one, Zelda 2, The Adventures of Link, the one I just said how I didn't like it, Link's Awakening, and it's going to be the Game Boy one, which is originally how it came out. And I actually have the remade one for the Switch, and I love that game. And there's also the game, I think it's called Vermin, that's on the other Game & Watch. But this time, the main character, the playable character, is going to be Link. So, okay. It looks cool. If I can find one, I'll probably pick one up just to try it out. And then, I'll just probably throw it on my shelf. It just feels like for their 35th anniversary for The Legend of Zelda that you would come out with something a little bit more substantial than kind of a novelty. Right? You would think. I don't know. So the other thing that they did come out with or talk about is the sequel to the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which I haven't played. I don't even have it, but one of these days I'm going to get to it. And, this sequel, we've already seen a little bit of it before, and they got to show us a little bit more this time. It was a lot of the same, but with just a little bit extra. It looks good. It does. I don't know what the name of it is. They were just calling it the sequel. But it looks good. It looks good to where it's like, man, this thing's going to be something that everybody enjoys. If you enjoyed the first one, this definitely looks like you're going to enjoy this one. So I got to get on that. Another game for my backlog, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, so that was it. There were other things that Nintendo came, other like RPGs that they were talking about, and I don't know, there was a Wario game that I guess is come out before that. This is like the newer one with like a bunch of mini games. It was just, I don't know. It was a bunch of stuff that I wasn't interested in with a smattering of stuff that I was. And evidently I'm not the only one that feels that way. There was a lot of other people that were talking that way too. But I will say I'm not mad at Nintendo, for not coming out guns blazing. Whatever. It is what it is. Just, keep giving me something. Because I'll be honest with you, most of my games that I have down here for the Switch, they don't even come from Nintendo. They come from limited run games because they make all these indie games, the kind of games that I like playing, into physical releases. So, that's kind of where I am with that. Like a lot of these AAA titles that the Switch has, I don't do. Which is, that's fine. It's just, it's just where I'm at right now with my gaming. What I have time for is those pickup games. That's why I'm looking forward to that Metroid Dread. It looks really nice. So, yeah. I guess that's it, And then, like I said, I wish I could talk about, the Sony and Xbox, but I'm not even going to. I don't even have those systems. So, I don't know what I'd just be talking out my rear, not that I know what I'm talking about with anything else, but I definitely would not know what I'm talking about with that. Anywho, so the Intellivision Amico, was back at E3, and well, I guess we'll just go over what the presentation was. Basically, anything that you have seen or know about the Amico, if you follow it, was just a rehash of everything. It was Tommy being Tommy. Whether you like it or not, that's what it is, and whatever. And so it was kind of weird that they were still there, that they actually did something this E3, because it was like, this is nothing new. Everything here is what we already know. It's like, some gameplay and Tommy talking a lot about himself, and so it's like, okay, it's like, that's cool, whatever. And I watched like a whole 10 minutes of it, and then I was like, okay, I've already seen all this. So of course that comes out, and who gets a hold of that and starts talking about it, but the guys at the CU podcast, and I usually don't want to talk about what other people are doing on their platforms, because it's like, who the hell am I? But I got to talk about this, because I was just these guys, this whole thing that's going on between like Tommy and Ian and Pat is just, it went from like interesting to annoying to funny now. At least that's how it went for me. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, trust me. Well, if you're listening to this, you got to know what I'm talking about. These guys. So basically, Tommy Tellerico is the guy that's putting together the Intellivision Amico, and then you have the CU podcast, which is a big gaming podcast with Ian Ferguson and Pat Contry. And I'm a fan of the show. I don't agree with everything they say, but it is a good show. I do enjoy it. And I've met Pat actually a couple years ago at Mo Game Con in down by St. Louis. Anywho, so of course, with it being nothing new that we haven't seen before, Pat and Ian just go right in and start picking it apart. And talking about they really do. They really do pick it apart. And I just don't know where I land on like a lot of what they say with it. Sometimes it's just like, I feel like, look guys, yeah, maybe there is lag on here, and maybe this thing ain't going to be what it's supposed to be, and maybe all these games aren't, exclusives like Tommy says they are, and maybe these are a lot of mobile games, but, at this point, why even cover it? Let's just see what comes out, if it even comes out at all. But I think the reason why they keep going back to it is because on the other end, Tommy likes to fire back at these guys, which, that's his. I don't feel that it's right or wrong. Whatever. Who am I? But I've always felt that, like, why are you even acknowledging it? And I'm not saying that Pat and Ian are wrong, but it's like, why even bother? Why stoke the fire here? I don't think it's necessary. Not really. At least that's what I've always felt. But I've seen Tommy on other interviews, and with other YouTubers or podcasters, and refer to them, or at least he doesn't really refer to Ian all that much, but it's always Pat. And he, refer to him as the clown in the one interview. And I'm just like, geez, I'm like, you just can't help yourselves. And neither can they. They just can't help it. And that he, after this came out, that you're going to hear something. Nothing's come out yet, but that is just eating Tommy up. Them just picking this thing apart. And it's like, look, on the off chance that Tommy Tellerico is listening, Tommy, look, take a deep breath, man. Okay? Relax. Just concentrate on getting this system out. I hope it's good. I hope it does well. I have been kind of critical of what's been going on with it in the past, and I try to get away from that because I want to wait and see what you put out. I really hope it's good. It's Intellivision. I love Intellivision. Who doesn't love Intellivision? Well, evidently some people. But yeah, Tommy, you just need to take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. It's okay, Tommy. I'm telling you right now. And don't flash a flashlight at a UFO, okay? And Pat and Ian, on the off chance that you listen to this, which I doubt that's ever going to be the case, but guys, relax too. Okay, I get that, it's kind of like low-hanging fruit at this point. I'm like, you already went over all this stuff. Let's just see what happens, I mean, yeah, if it gets to the release date and they push it back, yeah, then you say something. But, I mean, or not, or just you guys just keep going at each other. then I have some more stuff to talk about. I got more content just for how interesting it is. What we need is to get these two sides together. Ladies and gentlemen, how awesome would that be if I could get all these guys together, like on this podcast? Do you think that they would do it? I know Tommy would. But would Ian and Pat do it? Because, well, I mean, first of all, I'm small potatoes, but would they feel the need to actually sit down face to face with Tommy? I mean, maybe not literally, but over the phone here. I don't know. That would be cool. I might have to try that. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm just saying, maybe if there's somebody else out there that has more clout than me, which is like everybody, let's try and put this together. Why not? Why not just sit down and clear the air between Tommy and these guys just once? And who are we kidding? It probably wouldn't clear the air. It might even make it worse. So maybe that's not such a great idea. But it would definitely be interesting content there. You can't deny it. It would be pretty. That would be like of Mike Kennedy and then like Ian. Well, no, because Mike Kennedy didn't really say a whole bunch. He just kind of didn't say anything. And if you don't know who that guy is, that was the guy that, tried developing something called the Calico Chameleon, which feels like forever ago. So, well. I'm a big Marvel fan and, Star Wars fan, and I like to talk about every now and again some of these new shows that have been coming out on Disney Plus. Because when I first signed up for Disney Plus, I was kind of iffy on it because I'm like, okay, what are they going to do? Are they just going to, download all of their movies on here and then that's just going to be it? I mean, what are we talking about here? What are we going to get? And I've been really surprised at like how much original content from like Star Wars and well, I think this is the first. No, well, this is the second Marvel thing because the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which I really like that show. It was a good show, and I hope there's going to be a second season of that. But this latest one, Loki, it. For all intents and purposes, it is kind of a slow burn, but I guess when I think back on it, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier is too. Because, I mean, you can't have it be epic with the kind of budget that you probably get for a show as opposed to maybe like a motion picture. But I love it. I love the show. And there were only 3 episodes in, but I'm really enjoying it. I've gone back and watched all 3. The third one dropped today, and I've already watched it twice. I just love the character Loki. What is it? Tom Middleton, I think is the actor's name. It's just, you want to talk about a character that you can't, that comes to your mind when you say that name, like the actor, when you say Loki. For that matter, any of these characters are Marvel now. And it's just, I was really curious onto how they were going to do this show. Because I'm like, well, how are you going to do a whole show on Loki? Especially if he's supposed to be dead. And yeah, I know that, he got the Tesseract and went back, grabbed the Tesseract and just disappeared in, Endgame. But they've done it. I mean, it's so far. I think I'm guessing there's just going to be about eight episodes, maybe. I'm not sure. I don't know if they've even said, but I would guess 8. And so basically, if you haven't watched this, it's spoilers. Anytime I talk about movies or TV shows, it's always going to be spoilers. I'm not going to try and talk about something without giving it away. Let's talk about it without talking about it. But I love the TVA and how they put all that together, the people that govern the timeline. And I love, too, because my favorite thing was, or my one thought was, like, well, what about the Avengers? And then, they kind of stamped that out by saying, well, the Avengers were supposed to go back in time. That was already preordained. And it's like, okay, well, I guess, you can explain all that with just a little bit of writing. Problem solved. But I also love how they took that agency and made it into like a government agency with the feel of something from the 1960s. I love that retro 1960s look. It almost has that little bit of a Beetlejuice vibe too. If that makes any sense to anybody. And I love that they got Owen Wilson. Ugh. I love that guy. And I could see where some people might, because he's got a certain style, but basically, they just brought him in and said, hey, man, we just want you to be you. And you know what I'm talking about with this guy, because Owen Wilson just has that kind of way he talks and that tempo. I love it. I love this show. And I can't wait for the next one, for the next episode. I just got done watching the third one today, and just when I was deep into it, the episode ends, and it's like, oh God. I'm like, I gotta wait a whole week. What the heck, man? But that's what they keep having you come back for more. And the fact that another one of the Lokis that he's going after is a woman, which is, a different version of him in a different light. And that's, and if you're watching this, maybe somebody can answer this for me, because they never really explained it too well. Like, how are there other versions of Loki here? Are they from like different universes or what? I don't get it. I don't get like how there would be a variant that's a woman Loki, or you've seen Owen Wilson showing like a whole bunch of different kind. I didn't quite understand where they came from. If there's like multiple universes, or that's supposed to be all from the same universe, or if it's multiple universes but the same timeline. I don't know. So, and I'm not the only one. I know other people that are like, yeah, I like it, but it can be a bit confusing. And it is a little bit confusing, but yeah. So anyway, I guess that's all there is to say right now, because we're only in episode 3. So, I mean, everything's still developing. And, I like how episode 3, you always have to have that episode where you write it to where you can get to know the character, and namely the woman that's the female version of Loki, and them on the train together going back and forth. Okay. And it just understanding, getting to know what she's about, and then even understanding him, because that's the one thing, as much as the Marvel Universe got slammed for having weak villains, I never understood that, because like Loki being a villain, and I always thought that villain, treading the line between I'm a bad guy, but not really. I can be a really good guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand that. 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 Like, I don't you never really hate Loki. You know, you never really feel like he's just that bad guy. You just feel like it's like, come on, knock it off and let's just be friends, right? Because he'd just be cool to hang out with. You always wanted him and Thor just to kind of, you know, make amends, and they did, you know, in Ragnarok. And God damn it, he ended up dying in almost right away in Infinity Wars. But, you know, but now we're getting a whole bunch of Loki here. So he did die, but he didn't die. I don't know. It's just going to be interesting to see at the end, like, what happens to him. Or if there's, you know, I don't know if they plan on having a second season. I really hope they do. I'm loving this stuff. Kudos to Disney, because you're doing such a great job with this. And I can't wait because Black Widow, that movie just dropped on Disney Plus and at the movies, and I can't wait. I think after about a month, it'll be free on Disney Plus, and I can't wait to watch that because that looks so good too. You know, I know there's people out there that don't like the Marvel universe that Disney put together. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know what you want from it. I mean, I don't get it. I can't think of one Marvel movie that they have done that I didn't like. Now, there's been varying degrees in how much I like them, but I like all of them. I mean, really. All right, guys. Well, that's where we're going to leave it today. If you haven't seen Loki, well, go and see it. I just ruined it for you. But if you have seen Loki, down in the comments below, let me know what you think. Let me know if you like it or you don't like it. But, I mean, after 3 episodes, it might be kind of hard to figure it out, but I'm liking it. I think they're doing good. You know, I mean, I may not agree where the movies are going with the Star Wars franchise, but hey, everything else they got going with Marvel and Star Wars as far as the shows go, you guys are doing all right by me. All right, guys, well, thanks for tuning in this time. This was episode 21. I hope all of you guys are doing well. I love all of you guys. Stay safe. Good night and goodbye.
Rising beams and window pane.